Hey,
Hi. Sorry, I was doing something.
what was?
How are you guys doing?
How are you guys doing?
Raz, why are you muted?
I think he dropped his mic.
So, yeah, let's wait for Raz to be unmuted and we will be
Uh-oh.
able to get started.
Oh, Spadudio.
Let's see here. Ah! He'll be back.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
So, you know what?
Huh.
Let's see. How is everyone doing tonight? Let's start by saying hi to people. Hey, Shelby, how are you?
Hey, Shelby.
Hey, Calvin. Hey,
Calvin.
Nadine. Hello, Stephen Meows.
Oh.
Hello, Pogo. Hey, Roxanne, how are you doing?
Roxanne.
Hello, Dell, how are you?
Hey.
Guys, in case you didn't know, we got a new...
Their stuff starts tomorrow night.
And we got a new member.
And one person of that show is fixing his mic right now.
Just disappeared. But yeah, we got a new member. Her name is Dell, and she is awesome.
Now I have Moulin Rouge stuck in my head, the narcoleptic gypsy.
What?
The narcoleptic gypsy who sang Roxanne. Have you seen Moulin Rouge? It's the fucking badass part.
I
love that movie.
That's just something random there.
Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Roxanne, it's seriously a cool fucking part.
She's laughing. Yeah, we're doing good. I am wearing the, original Pennywise. And for the record, if you guys didn't notice, it's the scene where they forgot to put his contacts in. So
didn't he hated the contacts, wasn't it?
Well, no, it was just one scene they actually didn't put the contacts in. I think he couldn't get them in or something.
No, I thought he got irritation from it, so he did leave them. He took them out for a little bit, and then they forgot to put it back in.
So they did one scene with his normal eyes. But yeah, so even though we are not talking about Pennywise or clowns, I thought that I would be thematic with my outfit.
Yes.
Hello! What happened? Hi!
So my microphone decided it wanted to literally just fly off the table that way, and then when that happened, it also pulled my headset out of port. It was a comedy of errors sort of a scenario there. It was lovely.
Love it, but I don't. So let's get started.
Well, we do have the Delphine was in here for a second, and then
Delphine is in here.
Well, she is in here, but the whole
yes.
You want to plug that for tomorrow night, real fast?
There's a show tomorrow.
You don't need clowns. You have Raz.
There's a show tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern. It's called Al Late Freak Show, and you should watch it. Fuck off. There we go.
Did you say fuck off?
Yeah, I did.
Am I gonna be?
That's where I'm at.
I'm gonna be the one tomorrow night.
And they're gonna be there as long as they want to join us, and we're gonna tell you stories, and I'm gonna lie to you repeatedly, and it's gonna be great. And Dell's gonna be there, and it's gonna be fantastic. I feel like David Cross right now, just doing the weird random things he says for Rick and Morty all the time. Like it's two brothers. They're gonna do some stuff.
It's two brothers.
It's two brothers.
It's just two brothers. This way he starts laughing at it. It's totally ad-libbed.
It's scorpions, female scorpions,
using their woman power or woman time.
And it's good.
My mom and my sister are in the house. This is good tea. There's scorpions, female scorpions. Use your powerful woman time to kill them.
And the scorpions had bows on their heads. And I actually have learned so much from Rick and Morty. I was like, that's not the theory, that there had to be. What was it? No, what was it called again? I was like, they're fucking around with that, and I looked it up. I was like, this is real.
But I love he's all, why is lesbian part of her title? Like. Like what? That was the interest. He's like, why is lesbian part of her title?
Yes.
Womanhood of time, go.
And there's old ladies, and they're going to be there too.
Bad at acid episode was awesome.
The cum gutters. I'm sorry.
Oh God, those cum gutters. What are they called?
Yep.
He's all, ew.
I don't want to think about abs so.
No, I don't want to think about cum so viscous
that
it just sits in the gutter of the ab. Yeah, by the way, guys, this is 18 and over show.
Oops.
You know what? Let's go. Trigger warnings, guys. Lots and lots of trigger warnings.
We're talking tulpas.
Because we're talking about tulpas and death and all kinds of fun
and
shit.
Slender Man's
And apparently, cum gutters. Also, under fair use, another author may make limited use of the original author's work without asking permission pursuant to 17 U.S. Code 107. Certain uses of copyrighted material for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research, is not an infringement of copyright. So take that, sucker douche. Warning, the related content may be disturbing to some individuals, so viewer discretion is advised.
Slender Man's
Have
wiener.
we gone through all of this? And this is just an idea of what Slender Man looks like.
That's exactly what he looks like.
Yep.
Without the tentacles, though.
It's weird. I actually have I have a Slender Man in the other room, but I don't want to get him because he's taller than I am. And we made it out of a mannequin, and now it's Slendina because we got a dress, and we have we didn't know where to put our plastic bags from going grocery shopping, so we keep them and reuse them. But they decided to stuff them in a bra and put them on Slender Man, so it's Slendina now.
Hello, Shelby.
Hi, Shelby.
Thank you.
Hello.
What's up?
Wait, womanhood
Boy.
of time, go. Are they going to dance?
And they'll be dancing, and people will be there. And then there's that guy with the shoes.
Tickets, please.
Hurry!
I believe that what was it? I believe that I live in a universe, and the only way the universe stays together is that we abstain from
If we
sex.
do not have sex, I am part of the non-sex. Well, just one time.
Jesus Christ, it was like the most brutal fucking scene though. Like I've seen in a cartoon ever is when the Tickets Man guy goes into the other dimension or the other world or universe, and then he's like ripped apart.
Yeah.
He's being ripped apart there, and it's just blood everywhere, and his grandkids and everything are running. It's fucking brutal, man. There's been a lot of oh my god moments at with Rick and Morty. They're just fucking great, man.
Yes. Yes.
Cthulhu Patagon.
Yes. Yeah, Cthulhu Patagon.
In case you guys are wondering, I just came from my haunt. That's why I've got like this. You can't really see, but it's actually reptile scales, and then that's my my Doomhead 31 side of that side of the makeup because you get the blood and then
Yeah, I love
this
it.
is what I look like, but just with a top hat, an actual like really nice button-up carnival vest, and a wooden cane, and I'm not asshole
crazy,
and
I'm
I
in
insult
control.
people.
I'm not crazy. I'm in control. I'm not crazy. I'm in control.
Except for my thing, instead of it being about P.T. Barnum, it's this big monologue that I wrote in similar style. It's all about Nietzsche and staring into the abyss and all kinds of other crazy shit. Yeah, it gets pretty fucked up. I get to tell people how stupid they are today too. It's fantastic. I'm really insulting when I'm back there.
Susan, I'm feeling better.
I just blowjobbed my beer in a whole bunch of.
Yeah, I have
foam
video of
came
you
out
doing
it.
that.
Ah.
I was like, "Hey, babe, can you buy me? Can you hand me a beer?" And he popped it open. And he's like, "Ah." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
I was just
then."
letting you know I was easy.
I mean,
easy.
sometimes it's the nonverbal forms of communication that matter most, right?
And Liz was like, "Dear God, that Gok 9000 you got, babe."
Who's Liz?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yes, and it fits in perfectly. Thank you. All right. So I'm glad you're feeling better.
That's good.
It's good.
Also, I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah. That.
Oh yeah.
Susan, got sick the other day, and
It
we're
took
like, oh my
me
god,
out.
took us out.
You're at the haunt right now? You rock for dropping in, man.
Took us out the.
Hell yeah, dude. I just left mine. Thank you for coming to see us while you're still there.
Love it. Hey, which haunt, man? Because we're like only a couple hours away from you.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that till just now.
What haunt do you work at, Sykes? If you could let us know.
So I am going to start with talking about tulpas. So this gets into like philosophy and thought forms. We're gonna get,
We
try to be smart.
you work at the haunted hayride?
No, that says Hey Rob.
Oh, hey Rob, I'm sorry.
The haunted hayride is.
I'm exhausted. I don't know what your excuse is, sir. But how do you get haunted hayride from Hey Rob?
I don't know. Like I can't. When I got done working today, like I literally just got home and and I fell asleep.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I love it. Yes, I forgot about that place. Sorry. Oh no, Shelby has the same thing.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're all getting that in our house too. My wife had to be rushed to the ER yesterday, and she's got a major double ear infection and sinusitis.
Ugh.
It's yeah.
My haunt closed down looking into work. Oh man.
That sucks.
Man, if you were in Ohio, I don't know where you are, Rob, but if Rob's anywhere near Ohio, man.
He's in Australia.
He's in Australia.
Oh, okay. Damn it! I was gonna say, fly your ass here. I'll give you a job in Ohio, man. I'm hiring you
It's just
today.
a hop and a skip away, right?
So guys, I just have one thing to say real fast.
Yes.
Otherwise, be Nevermore for president for 2024. No more clowning around. We've had enough clowns. Why not get a real one?
That's right.
Oh man.
Hey, what's up? All right, let's get into this. I'm gonna try to be smart for a second.
Yeah, we're gonna read some stuff
And things.
from a computer screen.
The 20th century Theosophist. Wow.
Sound it out. I'm kidding.
Pass. God.
I was sounding it out in my head too. I was like, I can't say this. You're doing a better job than me.
Theosophists adapted the Vajrayana
What?
concept. Yes.
The Vajrayana.
Vajrayana.
What?
Concept. Vagina.
There we go. Okay, that's the word I understood.
Concept of emanation body into the concept of tulpas and thought form.
Would you say that he put a lot into it?
He put a lot into it.
Okay.
The Theosophist Annie Besant in the 1905 book Thought Forms divides them into three classes: forms in the shape of the person who creates them, forms that resemble objects or people that may become ensouled by nature spirits or by the dead, and forms that represent inherent qualities from the astral and mental planes, such as emotions. The term thought forms is also used in Evan Wentz's 1927 translation of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. The concept is also used in the Western practice of magic in general. So, occultist William Walker Atkinson, in his book, The Human Aura, described thought forms as simple ethereal objects emanating from the auras surrounding people, generating them from thoughts and feelings. He further elaborated on clairvoyance and occult powers, how experienced practitioners of the occult can produce thought forms from their auras that serve as astral projections, which may or may not look like the person who is projecting them, or as illusions that can only be seen by those with awakened astral senses. So, tulpamancers, which, these are people that bring these tulpas into being, influenced by depictions in television and cinema from the 1990s and the early 2000s, the term tulpa started to be used to refer to a type of willed imaginary friend. Practitioners considered tulpas to be sentient and relatively autonomous. Online communities dedicated to tulpas spawned on 4chan and Reddit websites. So these communities refer to tulpa practitioners as tulpamancers, like necromancers and, that kind of idea, but bringing a tulpa to life. The communities gained popularity when bronies, no joke, bronies, which by the way are adult fans of My Little Pony. In case you guys
are you serious?
Yes.
I was about to make a joke about like jabronis, like the rock scene.
Dude, you've never heard that? Like that term's been around for like a decade or more. Actually, longer, like since the 80s. Actually,
I've watched a lot of porn in my life, and I've never really heard about that.
So no joke. This isn't a porn thing. They like My Little Pony.
Yeah, they just chill around, just chill, and they like the show, like the story behind the show. Yeah,
just not adult My Little Pony, but
actual My Little Pony. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
like they actually like My Little Pony.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've gotten high as shit watching My Little Pony. It's a little confusing sometimes, but it's not bad.
My Little Pony. Back in the day when I was a kid, when He-Man and everything was like went off, but I just didn't know this was a thing.
So the communities gained popularity when adult fans of My Little Pony or bronies started discussing tulpas of characters from My Little Pony television series. The fans attempted to use meditation and lucid dreaming techniques to create these imaginary friends. And yes, I was about to get to that. Mass belief can create them. So the idea of Slender Man, which is what we're going to be getting into, is the idea from mass belief. Kukui, that the boogeyman in general, like these things are things that people believed in and they have come to be because of it.
One thing they brought up in I was listening to last podcast on the left, and they actually brought up and made a good point about it, like their memes and stuff like that are something that's been around forever, and that's basically what a lot of this stuff is. From the boogeyman to everything else, it's stuff that's been around for thousands of years that you put your thoughts and everything into, and all of a sudden, you're hearing bump in the dark, and you're seeing things being moved, and
exactly,
right.
Everything from even like the Men in Black possibly being tulpas and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
There's a very famous pop culture reference. Nightmare on Elm Street, New Nightmare, and the entire thing was the Native American concept version of the tulpa, where they stopped telling the story of Freddy, but enough people still believed in Freddy that Freddy became real, which is why it was a different person playing Freddy. He looked different because it was everyone's concept of the belief of Freddy that made Freddy real, and not what the actor looked like.
Freddy is actually quite a great description of a tulpa.
Yep.
In general. So surveys by Sierra explored this community's demographics, social and psychological profiles. These practitioners believe a tulpa is a real or somewhat real person. The number of active participants in these online communities is in the low hundreds, and few meetings in person have taken place. They belong to primarily urban, middle class, Euro-American, adolescent, young adult demographics. And they cite loneliness, social anxiety as an incentive to pick up the practice. So 93.7% of the respondents expressed that their involvement with the creation of tulpas has made their condition better and led to new, unusual sensory experiences. Guys, that's called shrooms.
That's all it takes sometimes.
And I would know.
You just need to connect to. You need to just be tripping the light exotic or whatever it's called.
And a lot of what we're talking about, you can go to r/tulpas on Reddit. Literally, like I had to write a short story about a imaginary friend, and I wanted to go way far in depth. So I went and chilled in this Reddit for about a month. There are guides that they put up there on how to make your own tulpas, what goes into like a lot of different beliefs and how it's done. It is probably some of the most interesting research I've ever done on anything I've ever written. Was just chilling with the people on that subreddit, man. It's amazing.
Oh yeah. So where was it? Here we go. Here we go. This is going to be fun. Some practitioners have sexual unromantic interactions with their tulpas, though the practice is controversial and trending towards taboo. One survey found that 8.5% of the metaphysical explanation of tulpas, support the metaphysical explanation of tulpas. 76.5% of the neurological and psychological explanation, and and 14% rather have other explanations. Practitioners believe tulpas are able to communicate with their host in ways that they sense do not originate from their own thoughts. Some practitioners report experiencing hallucinations of their tulpas. Practitioners that have hallucinations report being able to see, hear, and touch their tulpas. The survey of 141 respondents found that the rates of oh my gosh, the rates of autism, ADD. Here we go. You're gonna love this one. The survey of 141 respondents found that the rates of autism, ADD, and ADHD is significantly higher among the surveyed tulpamancers than in the general population. He goes on to speculate that people may be more likely to want to make a tulpa because these groups have a higher level of loneliness. And the reason I giggled a little bit is because I'm ADHD, guys.
It's also more people with these issues or whatnot are also more likely to have vivid imaginations and stuff like that, where they can actually do stuff like this if it's 100% real. You know, there is, my spec.
People with ADHD do tend to have a little bit more, seem to be a little bit more imaginative in general. I don't know if that's just
it's a very common thing among people with ADHD and obviously autism and stuff like that too. You see a lot of people. It's one of the reasons why when you see a lot of people with autism, ADHDs with that really getting pulled into video games and stuff like that. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's one of the reasons why I can sit here and get pulled into like Call of Duty and stuff like that, because it's just one of those things I can hyper focus on and everything.
Right.
Sorry. Sykes made someone pee.
No, it made his mom pee.
Oh!
Following her around and screamed. Yes, kind of like the Jewish golem. That is a very good example.
I sent you guys a link. Actually, that's what I was doing when I popped out for a minute because I hit the login button when I was trying to hit the private chat tab for some reason. And I sent you guys this link. This is one I don't bother reading it because it's kind of ridiculous. But often in that our tulpas group, you'll have people discuss sexual assault involving tulpas, and it's quite a topic there sometimes. It blows my mind to even see it.
Well, I'm
intrigued.
Let me ask this real fast. So, like, a lot of these people are low. Like, say, people who are criminal with these tulpas and stuff like that are very lonely, right?
A lot of them on there are, yeah.
So then you also probably have them also very not sexually repressed, but like lonely too in that department because they're not getting attention or something like that. So the idea of you're putting your thoughts and everything into creating this being, but then you're also, so whatever dark aspects of your mind, you wanting sex or whatnot goes into this too, which could end up, if this is real, if this is possible, people making these things, you would actually possibly make a rape creature, a rape monster, and stuff like that.
Basically, that's the concept because
enough to read.
It is, but I mean, if you really read it first beforehand, it's kind of ridiculous. It's not the best example of it, but there are better ones on there, I'm sure. But like the other concept is that when you're creating this thought form, you got to be careful on what you're focusing on when you're meditating, because a lot of your subconscious like influence and waves can go into it as well, and they think that's where the sexual repression and things like that come from that can create a tulpa more in that range of things. I mean, some of it's fine if you want to read it. So I didn't know if it's not the most well written thing that I've seen on Reddit.
Yeah, but so actually, you know what? Let's get into what we were going to talk about in the first place.
You want to do comments real fast before we?
I literally have.
No,
already.
I saw.
Susan, like the guy that had sex with the alien woman that would visit him, they had babies. Which would make their origin as biblical times. Yeah. Yes. So tulpas, I mean, were from around that time. They weren't considered tulpas because tulpas is a Tibetan kind of idea.
It is. It's a Tibetan idea, but
it's the same idea.
It's the exact same concept.
Or Tibetan term, I should say.
Of basically saying, hey, there's a sky being out there that controls the universe, and then there's a million stories about them, and then you're creating more and more and more.
In Native American rituals, that's on often how you see like your spirit animal when you go on your journey, your spiritual journeys. It's a manifestation of your mind versus the thing that you subconsciously connect the most to in nature, and it's why you'll see that certain animal. It's how you figure out kind of where you're at.
Nadine said, I see the shadow person at work. My coworker doesn't believe in that stuff and finally saw him. I said, you saw it, huh?
So Nadine, that was actually me. My bad. I've been stalking you for the last. I'm joking. I do believe in those two, though.
Rape ghost.
Like the rape ghost. Just Scooby Doo like runs off.
Well, no, she was talking about robot.
Robot, yeah.
No, I think that was Scooby Doo in Robot Chicken. I think.
Oh, I think it was.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit.
Yes, the Barbara Hershey movie, The Entity. Yes. Or a Paranormal Entity. It happens in that movie also. It's a found footage. The same basic concept.
Oh! First set of commercials, guys. I just noticed that we got to do.
Yep.
Learn things, buy stuff.
We will be right back, guys. Buy things.
Well, gentlemen, perhaps we wouldn't be where we are today if we hadn't said to ourselves, just go, 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 go for it.
Final score for this film, we're going to give it 3 paws out of 4.
La Señora de la Santa Muerte, Spanish for Our Lady of the Holy Death.
Out now!
Oh, not sex and violence!
Hi everybody, I'm Akath,
And I'm Pre-Sexist Diamond.
and we are Roots Bleed Red on Psycho Bunny Death Cult.
Aha!
In fact, humans have a very long history of eating each other.
So lock your doors, turn out your lights, and join us for Ghoul Radio.
Hello, all you beautiful people out there. It's your boy Sloopy. And when I'm not guzzling down gallons and gallons of amazing ice cream, yes, oh, I love ice cream. Oh, hang on. I'm watching PBDC TV. Now, back to the show, all you beautiful people. And remember, stay nasty.
Thank you.
Nice.
I love you, Scott. I'm just going to say it.
The tulpa might be the actual victim of something truly malevolent. Watch what you're playing with.
That's a theory that some people themselves are actually tulpas that you interact with every day. It's an interesting theory.
I Raven love the
Hi,
makeup.
Raven.
Damn.
Could you imagine that? I mean, like actually just. We don't
don't
know who people really are and stuff like that. You know, like
Yeah, I mean, I'm clearly a figment of your imagination. Like clearly.
Well, I mean, I believe I'm a figment of your imagination. And if we stop believing in each other,
but can it?
Is he the only one sitting here?
Then what happens? That would be like if a tulpa can make a tulpa.
They're my imaginary friends, guys.
And this was the best that she could do.
I thought those of us with ADHD were supposed to be creative. All right, so let's start talking about true
things that keep us up at night, especially when I've had like stoned conversations with Susan. And like, well, it's not Susan doesn't get stoned, but when I've been stoned talking about things, we were like talking about like, do we really exist, and talking about the universe and all this other stuff, and like a cause sitting there going, it's 4 a.m. The sun's already come up in Georgia. Go to bed. I was like, we're talking. This is intense.
So now we're going to talk about this guy right here. Here you go. Those of you who are scared.
The Slender Man. Spoople.
The dresser people.
We've come for your socks.
What did I think about the people under the stairs? Are those possibly tulpas?
Yes. Yes.
Roach was a tulpa.
So, the Slender Man, also known as just Slender Man, is a supernatural fictional character created by a creepypasta internet meme that was created by Something Awful. User Eric Knudsen, known as Victor Surge, in 2009. So he's depicted as a thin, unnaturally tall humanoid with a featureless face and head, wearing a black suit. Stories of the Slender Man commonly feature him stalking, abducting, traumatizing people, particularly children or, young teens. Slender Man has become a pop culture icon, although he's not confined to a single narrative, but appears in many desperate works of... All right, I said desperate. Disparate. 2 different words, guys. Of fiction, typically composed online. So, fiction relating to the Slender Man encompasses a lot of different media, including literature, art, videos, even video games. So, let's see. Beginning in 2014, a moral panic occurred over the Slender Man after readers of his fiction were connected to several violent acts, particularly a near-fatal stabbing of a 12-year-old girl in Waukesha, Wisconsin. And the stabbing inspired a documentary, Beware the Slender Man, which was released in 2016, which is where we're going with this.
Yes.
I mean, we could talk about H.P. Lovecraft and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like we're going to go like 5 hours if we did.
I think we should. It's fine. I mean,
okay. Well, that's where we're headed, guys.
Everything we're going to get into here gives a real backstory to the stabbing, why they did things. So
yeah,
what is it?
We're just a universe under the hangnail of an alien until they clip it. Hexes.
Did we talk? We did.
Yes, you said that. Yes.
If you're a fan of the Earthworm Jim cartoon, apparently we all live in a series of snow globes.
Well, I mean, if you're a fan of Dragon Ball Super, that's basically what it is too.
Hold on.
What?
I have something funny.
You.
Nadine mentioned the DMT elves, and that really truly is a thing, man. Like the DMT elves are the DMT elves. Like when you've done too much DMT and like you see the elves. That's an actual thing. Yeah, that's trust me. I know it is an actual thing.
How much do you have to do to see underwear gnomes, though?
Okay, so 3 hits of 3 hits of acid and about an eighth of shrooms to yourself, and if you focus on South Park, you will see them, and I do not know this from experience.
I think they're all much older. The rake, the white crawlers, the not deer.
Yeah, the not deer.
So I wanted to read something that you guys reminded me of because it's like my favorite poem in the world, and it doesn't even have who the author is. Otherwise, I'd give them credit. I have never found the author, but it says,
maybe it was a tulpa.
Zag is the only name I've ever really found. When I die, my atoms will come undone. I'll be space dust once again. The wind will carry me, scatter me everywhere, like dandelions in the springtime. I'll visit worlds and alien moons. It'll be so damn poetic until I land on your sandwich.
That's a good one, man.
That's one of my favorite poems ever. I read it a long time ago, and I've never been able to get past it because I love it so much.
Nadine, are the elves benevolent or malevolent?
I guess it depends on how much you've done.
It could literally be either way.
Are you going to have a panic attack in the middle of it, or are you relaxed as fuck? I think that's what it comes down to.
So, I guess let's talk about... Here we go. So the Slender Man was created on June 10th, 2009 on a thread in the Something Awful internet forum. The thread was a Photoshop contest in which users were challenged to create a paranormal image. Excuse me. Forum poster Eric Knudsen, under the pseudonym Victor Surge, contributed 2 black and white images of groups of children, to which he added a tall, thin, spectral figure wearing a black suit. Although previous entries had consisted solely of photographs, Surge supplemented his submission with snatches of text, supposedly from witnesses, describing the abductions of groups of children and giving the character the name the Slender Man. The quote under the first photo read, "We didn't want to go. We didn't want to kill them. But it's persistent silence and outstretched arms horrified and comforted us at the same time." And then it says 1983 photographer unknown, presumed dead.
Yeah.
Quote under the second photo read, "One of the 2 recovered photos from the Sterling City Library blaze, notable for being taken the day which 14 children vanished and for what is referred to as the Slender Man. Deformities cited as filmed defects by officials. Fire at library occurred 1 week later. Actual photograph confiscated as evidence. 1986, photographer Mary Thomas, missing since July 13th, 1986. These additions effectively transformed the photographs into a work of fiction. Subsequent posters expanded upon the character, adding their own visual or textual contributions. And that would be why, talking about H.P. Lovecraft would be a part of it. Because that is exactly what he did.
Well, yeah, Lovecraft. His idea was, he's one of the original people who believed in an expanded universe, especially after he was gone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like when you're looking back at the Yellow King and stuff like that, like
King and
that's
Yellow,
not his original. That's not his original work, but they brought it in and started using it. I think he did know the author of the Yellow King.
He did, yeah.
And they were friends, and they started using that, and they started moving on forward, and he encouraged people to. And this is one of the things I didn't know until a few months ago when we watched the documentary on H.P. Lovecraft, because I always had one of the big thing. I was like, I just want his stories, but
no, but he encouraged people always.
That's
why I always liked
I didn't know that until I saw that documentary on him. It had Neil Gaiman and everything in it. I can't think of the name of the documentary, but. There's the reason why whenever you bought, like when I was a kid, I was buying H.P. Lovecraft books. I was like, I'm only getting one H.P. Lovecraft story, but I'm getting a million other people's stories. Like I want H.P. Lovecraft. Well, come to find out, he encouraged other authors to take up his work after he was gone, and they've expanded on it very, very hugely so far. With
it's an entire universe of its own.
It's great.
Susan says, "I'm so landing in people's coffee." Nadine said, "Only if you're wearing your chicken socks."
Just chicken socks and space dust.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I love H.P. Lovecraft personally, man. I've been a big follower of his work for a long time, and the community only grows more and more and more with the mythos stories
Oh,
every single day, man. Like even I've done one. Like a lot
Yeah.
of people, man. It's a big deal.
So Knudsen was inspired to create the Slender Man primarily by Zach Parsons. That insidious beast is actually
Yeah.
what inspired him. But Stephen King's The Mist reports of shadow people, Mothman, and the Mad Gasser of Matin. Other inspirations for the character were the Tall Man from Phantasm.
Yep.
I think
Which
that's
came from that came from German folklore, the tall man originally too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. H.P. Lovecraft, the surrealist work of William S. Burroughs, the survival horror, video games, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, stuff like that. Knudsen's intention was to formulate something whose motivation can barely be comprehended and which caused unease and terror in a general population. And he succeeded. Other pre-existing fictional or legendary characters which are similar to Slender Man include the Gentleman, the Black-Suited, pale, bald demons from Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode Hush, Men in Black, many accounts of which grant them an uncanny appearance with an unnatural walk or
the Men in Black, though,
features.
that has actually been around. There's been reports of them throughout
long before that.
history.
Yeah.
So it's more like the Slender Man. I know it's what's his face made it up, but it's more like the Slender Man would be a part of them.
We should definitely cover the Bad Gasser.
Yeah.
The problem, the thing with the Slender Man, and this happens with a lot of things. The most recent one was there was an artist named Trevor Henderson that created Siren Head, and that's like the big thing now.
Yeah.
But what happens is these artists create things, and then you got 50,000 people on Reddit that are like, let's write a story. Or they're the SCP files, you'll see one on there, or creepypasta. So these are unlicensed stories that they don't ask the artist permission for. And sometimes there'll be like issues with that. Like, so, and like I know with Siren Head, a lot of people did stories, and it kind of rocked the community because no one had permission, and there were people getting pissed off about it. And but with Slender Man, it was a little bit different because he just said, I kind of created this thing, and here you go. And at first, it was open source; like anyone could write a story and add to the mythology, as sort of like improv. Yes, and you could add on to it, but you couldn't negate anything that anyone else had already created. So then he did more photos, and then other people did photos. And then the big blow up for Slender Man was YouTube with a series called Marble Hornets, where they didn't call him Slender Man, they called him the Operator, but it was this expansion on the existing mythos where they went crazy. And then there was Everyman Hybrid, 13 Tribes. There was a show I actually did also during that craze called ULIE. But there was it became a huge deal, like a complete sensation. And then someone decided to kind of do a copyright scenario, sort of underneath people's noses. It just sort of happened.
Yeah.
One thing I think we were talking about last night was like we got to be careful with some of the pictures we put up because some of the pictures are copywritten and we're going to get in trouble for. And I was like, we were saying
if they're posted to free use websites, so like we can show them as long as we mention who created the image. It's it. We just have to say who created it, and we're fine.
Well, so in her book, Folklore, Horror Stories, and the Slender Man, the development of an internet mythology, Professor Shira Chest of the University of Georgia connected the Slender Man to ancient folklore about fairies. Like fairies, the Slender Man is otherworldly and with motives that are often difficult to grasp. Like fairies, his appearance is vague and often shifts to reflect what the viewer wants or fears to see. And like fairies, the Slender Man lives in the woods and wild places and kidnaps children.
Dun, dun, dun.
Early development, the Slender Man soon went viral, spawning numerous works of fan art, cosplay, online fiction known as creepypasta, horror stories told in short snatches of easily copyable text that spread from site to site. Divorced from its original creator, the Slender Man became the subject of a myriad of stories by multiple authors within an overarching mythos. Many aspects of the Slender Man's mythos first appeared on the original Something Awful thread. One of the earliest editions was added by a forum user named Throw Up. By the way, Thoreau. So his name was Throw Up, which I find Very hilarious. Who created a folklore story set in the 16th century Germany involving a character called Der Grossmann.
Yeah.
The Gropa.
No,
I'm sorry.
gross.
I know.
That thing is actually S, like Scheisse.
Yeah.
That's how you spell Scheisse. Which was implied to be an early reference to the Slender Man. The first video series involving the Slender Man evolved from a post on Something Awful thread by user Cigars. It tells
great names,
a
man.
fictional film school friend named Alex Crayley, who had stumbled upon something troubling while shooting his first feature-length project, Marble Hornets, which I'm actually going to bring up. Steven,
And that is, I'm going to tell you right now, that the original Marble Hornets on YouTube, what he said, they're going to talk about the Always Watching movie they made later, because they sold out later to make that movie, but the original project on YouTube, which is still there, it is the strangest rabbit hole you will ever go down in your life. Like, period. And an episode could be anywhere between, like, a minute to, like, 30 or 40 minutes. Like, it's all over the place. There's, like, so many layers to it. It's intense.
We've actually talked about El Duende. That was a fun one. I think that was the same episode that we talked about El Silbón and La Llorona.
Yeah. One of the things on YouTube I actually really, when I started really discovering creepypastas, was the Godzilla NES creepypasta.
One of my favorite. I actually re-listen to that one at least once a year.
It's so freaking cool. They finally this year they actually gave the ROM hack out to where you can play the Godzilla creepypasta.
Right.
NES Godzilla creepypasta, which I was like, oh my god, I gotta get it. I gotta get this.
So there's actually something that a lot of people probably don't know about me is I've actually read some creepypasta stories. Chilling Tales from Dark Knight, Craig R. Rorschach, he does amazing stuff, and he owns the creepypasta website. So anytime you hear one of my stories by them, you can also find it on creepypasta. And most of the people that I'm connected to on through Reddit, we all do creepypasta and no sleep. So I actually do know the person that did Godzilla. Oh my god, dude. Brilliant mind.
We're doing a Godzilla show eventually, so...
Yeah, we'll have to bring that up for then, too. That was depressing and beautiful and frightening and just every emotion.
I would love to pick that guy's mind and be like, what was the reason for you writing this? Is this is it... A lot of times when people write stuff like that, it's them coping with something that really happened in their life, and it was so... Just, if you guys ever go check it out on YouTube, Godzilla Creepypasta, one episode will be 20 minutes long, another episode will be 2 hours long.
And they actually put up all those screenshots and everything, like the videos that has the screenshots of the characters. Mm-hmm. Those were all generated, like all legit generated, and specifically for it. It's a mind fuck, man.
Yeah, I've seen the actual gameplay footage of it, and it's again, it just came out, I think, last year or this year, and it's a Godzilla ROM hack, and they put everything in there.
Dude, rules! No mentioning Godzilla.
You have to.
see, this show is going to be 8 hours now that we've mentioned Godzilla.
That's the best part of it.
They try to recapture with like Sonic.exe, which was okay. It wasn't a bad story; it was decent. But there's one they did called Pets, because it was the video game called Pets, like back in the early '90s. Yeah. No one has ever done a YouTube like for it, but it is an even creepier rabbit hole to check into. You can only find that one on Reddit, though.
Yeah.
So, I forgot where it was.
But it's all relevant, though. He's a rap's background in creepypasta, and the Rake is part of the Slender Man mythos. There's a lot of characters that are considered to be specifically part of the Slender Man mythos.
Well, so the video series published in found footage style on YouTube forms an alternate reality game describing the filmer's fictional experiences with Slender Man. And this is Marble Hornets, by the way.
This was on Twitter. It was on every social media. There was private emails, weird shit.
Oh yeah, the ARG also incorporates the Twitter feed and alternate YouTube channel created by user Tothark.
The Ark. To the Ark.
Oh, because I'm all Tothark? What?
Yeah, it's To the Ark.
That makes more sense. I see it.
Yeah.
I'm all, I don't get it.
It's all thought heart. The hot chick over there.
That hoe.
That hoe there. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what?
Hey, girl.
So as of 2013, Marble Hornets had over 250,000 subscribers around the world and received about 55 million views. Other Slender Man themed YouTube serials followed included Everyman Hybrid.
I know a couple of those guys. Yeah. Yep. And then You Lie, which they never added to the list, but that's okay. That's all right. We relate to the game.
The golden age of like YouTube, like with the creepypastas and stuff like that. This is when I grew up on a farm and we didn't move here until 2009. And that's when I finally got broadband internet and actually digging deep into this stuff, like for anything Lovecraft, anything like, the Hellbound Heart, stuff along those lines. And then discovering this stuff, I was like, this is absolutely amazing. But
there's a lot of crazy ass depth to it. And another thing that's worth mentioning is Nightmind. The reason why is if you watch these videos, but you didn't get a chance to see all the Twitter and everything, if you go back and watch Marble Hornets Explained videos by Nightmind, he actually shows you the screenshots from all the things that you missed when you watched the series late in life. So he'll show you the Twitter feeds and the email, all the stuff, and he'll explain a lot of things that you may have missed. But also, it makes you ask even more questions about it once you see his explained videos. It's intense, man.
Just to let everyone know, I know we're squirreling off a little bit here, but we actually are staying on topic with the creepypastas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this is actually really leading up to the Slender Man stabbing and what the reason why these girls did what they did. It's not saying that these writers or whatever, it's just are bad or it's the mythos or anything is bad. It's just they took it in a bad way.
I mean, and it leads up to it also because when you learn more about Slender Man, you watch the shows, you read the mythology. What happens when he abducts children is they become proxies. They do his will when he's unavailable to step in and step through dimensions and handle something. So he taps these people that are basically like puppets. That's what proxies are. Is they're basically puppets.
Sorry, she just went live on Clapper.
We're also live on Clapper. So
what's up, Clapper?
I'm hoping that we can hear you.
We'll find out.
As well. I'm not quite sure.
Maybe.
But let's see if we can do this.
People on Clapper are like, why are they pausing so much?
But it is the proxy though angle of Slender Man that leads most directly into the stabbing. Yeah. It's the most important part of the mythos that translates into that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So in 2012, the Slender Man was adapted into a video game, which I was talking about earlier.
The Arrival.
Slender the 8 Pages.
Oh yeah, that was the first one. Yeah.
And within its first month of release, the game was downloaded over 2 million times. Several popular variants of the game followed, including Slender Man Shadow, Slender Man for iOS, which became the second most popular app released in 2013. Several independent films about Slender Man have been released or are in development, including Entity, which we talked about earlier. Yes, hi Clapper! Woo! Everybody left. I don't know if they can hear me because I hooked us all into the whole system here. So we'll see what happens.
They should be able to hear us.
I hope they can hear everybody. Clap on, clap off. So the Slender Man released free online after a $10,000 Kickstarter campaign. And in 2013, it was announced that Marble Hornets would become a feature film, which again, as we mentioned before, Stephen P. Kitty Cat on Spooky Tales of Steve the Cat on Psycho Bunny DC and Psycho Mantium 13, as well as Spooky Tales of Steve the Cat. We'll be reviewing Always Watching a Marble Hornets story later this season. So if you guys check that out. Let's see. Let's get back into this. I'm getting all kinds of messages now, too. So, because the Slender Man's fictional mythology has evolved without an official canon for reference, its appearance, motives, habits, and abilities are not fixed but changed depending on the storyteller. He is commonly described as very tall and thin with unnaturally long tentacle-like arms, or even just mere tentacles.
It's
Well, apparently, we get into hentai with this.
No, you actually do. They actually
Let's-
the proper picture and stuff like that is his really really long arms, but he's really really tall, and then the tentacles and everything come out of his back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So which he can the tentacles he can extend to intimidate or even capture his prey. In most stories, his face is white and featureless, but occasionally the face appears differently to anyone who sees it. So he appears to be wearing a dark suit and tie always. Slender Man is often associated with the forest or abandoned locations and has the ability to teleport. And then that always makes me think of the Enderman.
Well, that's where Enderman comes from.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Every time I play that damn game, I'm all, I see one! I'm running.
Oh, yeah. Those guys.
So, proximity to the Slender Man is often said to trigger a slender sickness, a rapid onset of paranoia, nightmares, delusions, accompanied by nosebleeds.
This is, you can tell right here. This is,
I'm not crazy. I'm in control.
this is where he's I can't think of the guy's name again. Surge. He took directly from the Cthulhu mythos and stuff like that, where if you see Cthulhu in real life, you're going to lose your mind, or you're going to lose a lot of your sanity and stuff like that. Because seeing something like this, I mean, could you imagine that actually seeing a being like this in real life? Like, I mean, just like you're walking down the street or you're near a forest, and all of a sudden there's just a 6 foot or no 6 foot. There's like a 9 foot tall creature wearing a suit with no face and tentacles coming out of his back. You would quite literally lose your shit.
And at the time, that was a time during No Sleep on Reddit where a lot of people would still include like pictures, like picture links to their stories. And they would do the stories about Slenderman, but they wouldn't necessarily say Slenderman. And you'd see it was supposed to be a picture of them driving down the road. They'd be at this intersection, and there'd be this really tall guy in a suit and tie with no face, like hovering over the street, like down at them. And you're like, oh, well, that's special.
So I found a picture of Slender Man with tentacles. And this is a very good picture here. I freaking love it. I've saved it.
That's actually
that is really
that
awesome.
frames everything perfectly too. I mean, look at that.
Maybe we can just keep this up.
Yeah.
Raz is sniffing one of the tentacles. I'm over here on the side. Oh, that's slenderific.
You know,
I feel thinner already.
I don't think you should leave it up.
Is he single?
And ready to mingle.
He is.
All right.
That is, Nadine, that is one of the things with him is the hentai aspect of it. That is a very, very real part of the mythos with him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we could hook you up if you're ready to date.
People can die of fear. It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes, it is. Absolutely. So I'm echoing.
Are you?
Yeah.
No, it's because she's being louder and it's my mic's picking it up a little bit.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, in the monitor,
it's only in our headphones. It's not on the feed or
It's
anything.
all
like
in
that.
my head.
Well, you know what that sounds like? A you problem.
Whatever.
No, not just playing.
I'm not crazy. I'm in control. Early stories featured him targeting children or young adults. I'm going to move this so it's a little bit more in front of us.
One of the concepts behind that is at any given time on the planet, there are more children than anything else at any given time. And so his infiltration of abducting children and using them as proxies meant that he could literally have like millions of eyes all around the world at any given moment to do his bidding.
So some featured young adults driven insane to act on his behalf, while others didn't. Others claim that investigating the Slender Man will draw his attention. The web series Marble Hornets established the idea of proxies, humans who fall under the Slender Man's influence. Though initially they were simply violently insane rather than puppets of the Slender Man. Marble Hornets also introduced the idea that the Slender Man could interfere with video and audio recordings, as well as the Slender Man symbol, which became a common trope of Slender fiction. Graphic violence and body horror are... What?
Where are you at?
Aren't uncommon in the Slender Man mythos.
Right.
It was just something that was typed wrong. With many narratives choosing to leave the fate of the victims obscure, though. So Shira Chess notes that it's important to note that few of the retellings identify exactly what kind of monster the Slender Man might be and what his specific intentions are. These people will remain mysteriously and usefully vague.
Yeah.
So that's funny.
The cool part of it too is like all these things, like Marble Hornets, the show I did, Everyman Hybrid. The stories were always told in a vehicle where people were just doing something else, and Slender Man just happened to show up. Like Marble Hornets was the film. Everyman Hybrid, they started out doing exercise videos for people that didn't have a lot of money to go to the gym, and it was all about exercise videos. That's what it was. The one I did was about a pair of brothers that were just doing paranormal investigations, and then something weird happened, and something that the narratives always change and end up becoming about Slender Man, but they never start that way, and that's an important trope in that entire world.
It's kind of like the black-eyed children and stuff like that too, where they
Black mouth dog.
They just well, they're just say that again.
That was all black mouth dog.
Black mouth dog.
Black mouth dog too.
Where they literally, you'll just all, and it's the black-eyed children are actually really specific to like New Mexico, the Southwest, and like Texas, but people will just be doing random stuff in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden you just have a kid, and you're like, "Why am I smelling death?" And you look down, and there's a kid with black eyes going, "Can you give me a ride home? And I want ketchup." Like literally weird stuff like that. No, it's weird.
It is.
It's weird stuff like that because it's supposedly possibly a demon who doesn't exactly understand humanity, so they think they have to ask weird things in order, like I need a frozen apple to feed my cat. Like seriously.
Yeah. And trick or treat stories are probably the most common written stories about the black-eyed children too. And there's some really amazing ones out there.
So, media scholar and folklorist Andrew Peck attributes the success of the Slender Man to its highly collaborative nature, much like H.P. Lovecraft. Because the character and its motives are shrouded in mystery, users can easily adapt existing Slender Man tropes and imagery to create new stories. This ability for users to tap into the ideas of others while also supplying their own helped inspire the collaborative culture that arose surrounding the Slender Man. Instead of privileging the choices of certain creators as canonical, I can never say that right.
Canonical.
Yeah, canonical. Thank you. This collaborative culture informally locates ownership of the creature across the community. So in these respects, the Slender Man is similar to campfire stories and urban legends, and the character's success comes from enabling both social interactions and personal acts of creative expression. Which, again, talking about campfire stories and urban legends. This might be the time for Raz to plug.
I was about to do that. You beat me to it.
his podcast.
Yes, the Owlite Society is presenting the Owlite podcast, where we're going to discuss in-depth urban legends, myths, where they come from, why they matter, and we'll teach you a little bit about storytelling on the way. And if you don't watch it, I will stab Guatemalan children
Would you
repeatedly.
stop that?
Basically, what's going to happen here is if you guys don't watch tomorrow night, in a few weeks, we're probably going to be covering Raz on Roots Bleed Red.
So Susan says, can I use your telegraph to contact my mom?
Yeah.
Is one of them too, for like the black-eyed children.
It's basically like how out of place they are, and then also too with the I think the clothing too. Like they'll all be in hoodies, or they'll be in like dress from like the 1860s and stuff like that.
The 20s.
The 20s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You got articles of clothing that are just from different even eras too, like all in one person.
But you never ever let them into your car or your house because you will end up dead.
Carrie says, "I'll provide a small puppet show as well if desired."
I've been talking about sock puppets for like a month now, and I still haven't made one.
I still want the sock puppet arguments.
Yes.
On here, like I'll make one. Shit, I need googly eyes. Somebody get me googly eyes.
We'll do like a whole episode.
You guys can only use sock puppets if you take them to therapy. Rick and
You're
Morty.
crazy. This is crazy. I don't think crazy is the appropriate term. It is now.
Yeah. It wasn't, but now, yeah.
They use it on TV. Well, television gives cooking awards to British people.
And it's not proper to give cooking awards to British people because they have the nicest cooking shows ever. I want to see.
They literally are
I want
like,
to see people
"Oh my God,
pissed,
can I
ready to
help
stab
you?"
people on my cooking shows.
I'm so. Oh, your entire cake fell. Let's all band together and help you.
Let's give you
We're
an extra
here in-
20 minutes, and then here in America is like, no, we want our money.
Fuck yeah.
Right. Imagine like an Ed Gein cooking show.
I would love that.
Because he has his, he developed his own method for like butchering a human body, and it's actually pretty genius. The method that he had discovered and used, it's legit.
actually really
Hello,
the
Mr. Gein.
The best part.
Let me out of here.
The best part of everything is like when what was it? He was telling the story or whatever, and like about his venison stew.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
And he came back later on that day, or a couple days later. He's like, "I really love the venison stew you made." He's like, "I've never shot a deer before in my life."
Yeah, yeah.
Whoops.
Wah, wah, wah.
It was a two-legged deer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It was a not deer.
Two-legged deer. Okay.
He only killed 2 people, I think. That was it. The rest of them he just dug up.
Yeah. It made
Now I
things.
want to listen to Misfits. Dig up her bones.
Oh.
Yeah.
So let's get back into this. Actually, I think we should play a commercial. And in the meantime, hello, Clapper people. Thank you for joining. While we're at commercial, because you guys might not be able to hear this, I'll be like, hi. Okay. We will be right back. We're going to our final commercial set. Yay!
Buy stuff.
This is Professor Edgar Fluffosaurus from Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat, and when I'm not hosting Monster Chat or knocking down small Japanese cities, I'm watching PBDC TV. Now back to the show.
We're back. We've been talking to the clapper people, saying hi. We're not talking shit.
Hi.
Hello.
I feel like you have to clap when you talk to them because it's
I
like a
saw
whole
that Jokey came in, by the way, which I'm totally stoked about.
Jokey Smurf.
On the 11th, so next Tuesday, I get to talk with Jokey on Aka Chit Chat.
Friday, what we got going on Friday?
And I haven't made an ad for it yet, but I know Tyler Fleming is still in here. So
October Noir.
we're talking to Tyler Fleming, the drummer from October Noir,
Nice.
and the host of the Noir Hour. And so that'll be really fun. It's been a while. I don't think we've ever actually interviewed him. We've talked shit a lot with him.
We've talked shit a lot with was it Tom?
No, but I mean we've talked shit back and forth.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I was like,
And, you know, of course, Tom. We've had Tom on the show a lot of times, so this is going to be a really fun one as well.
Now we get to mess with Tyler. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So, Tyler, I noticed we had a misspelling. I think Scurry Face was spelled wrong.
Hashtag fuck Scurface.
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 Fuck Scurface.
Hashtag fuck Scurface.
If we say Tyler F. and West's name 3 times fast, he should show up.
He's gonna show up at the end and make us go another half hour.
Well, I'm already having to pee. I know I'm. I know.
He said he has to pee. Tyler, where are you?
Oh man, that's usually his cue. Come on, man. Where are you?
I know, right? So, all right, let's get back into this, guys. Where am I?
We're almost to the stat.
We're right here in the present, man.
The reason I wanted to continue talking about this one is because it does get into coast to coast a little bit.
Yeah,
so,
it's one of my favorite shows ever, man.
We're going through all this so we can just talk about Art Bell, man.
I know.
Art Bell and,
who doesn't want to talk about Art Bell?
Art Bell and George Norrie are fucking awesome. Rest in peace, Art Bell, too.
Yeah, man.
This is going to talk about George Norrie.
Yeah.
Norrie.
Although nearly all users understand that Slender Man is not real, they suspend that the disbelief in order to become more engrossed when telling or listening to the stories. This adds a sense of authenticity to Slender Man legend performances. Yeah, I thought I saw Tyler for example. Yes, Art Bell. But woo. So this adds a sense of authenticity to the Slender Man legend performances and blurs the lines between legend and reality. So, keeping the creature as an object of legend, dialectic. This ambiguity has led to some confusion over the character's origin and purpose. Only 5 months after its creation, George Norrie's Coast to Coast AM, a radio call-in show devoted to the paranormal and conspiracy theories, began receiving callers asking about Slender Man. 2 years later, an article in the Minneapolis Star Tribune described his origin as difficult to pinpoint. Eric Knudsen has commented that so many people, despite understanding that the Slender Man was created on Something Awful forums, still entertain the possibility that he might be real. Shira Chess describes the Slender Man as a metaphor for helplessness, power differentials, and anonymous forces. Peck sees parallels between the Slender Man and common anxieties about the digital age, such as feelings of constant connectedness and unknown third-party observation. Similarly, Ty Van Horn, a writer for The Elm, has suggested that the Slender Man represents modern fear of the unknown, and in an age flooded with information, people have become so unaccustomed to ignorance that they now fear what they cannot understand.
That's
Troy Wagner, or Wagner, however you want to pronounce it,
Wagner.
The creator of Marble Hornets, ascribes the terror of Slender Man to its malleability. People can shape it into whatever frightens them the most. Tina Marie Boyer noted that the Slender Man is a prohibitive monster, but the cultural boundaries he guards are not clear. Victims do not know when they have violated or crossed them.
But isn't that's regular? That's actual human instincts to fear the unknown, but also to be curious of the unknown. Hi, John. And then to
Hi, Lava.
To like humans actually like fearing what they don't know, like especially like dark places and stuff like that. That's your natural instincts to be like, okay, don't go there because you could possibly be killed because it's very, very dark in that area and there's probably animals and predators there. So that's what happens here with this. And to say that, like, who that one person said it was human ignorance, is like this. I guess it is human ignorance.
In a way.
No, that's not what he was saying. It's that we're in a world that is so accustomed to not having ignorance because of the flow of information that you could just it's at your hands.
I see what you're saying.
You could just Google whatever the hell you can't think of.
Yeah.
And people are so afraid of being ignorant now. And so accustomed to being able to look things up. So when they don't understand something, it terrifies them.
But even like to I guess even like the setting of like the Slender Man, the fact that he's in the woods, when you go to the woods and stuff like that with your cell phones, there's no connection, or there's very little connection too, so you can't exactly look things up and be like, oh my god, I'm gonna figure out what's over here and stuff like that. No, you actually have to deal with it.
Yep.
Hi, Deer Hunter. Good movie, by the way.
Deer Hunter, yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a good movie, man. All right, so let's get into the stabbing.
Watermelon children?
Huh? No. So on May 31st, 2014, two 12-year-old girls in Waukesha, Wisconsin, held down and stabbed a 12-year-old classmate 19 times. When questioned later by authorities, they reportedly claimed that they wished to commit a murder as a first step of becoming proxies for Slender Man, having read about it online. They also stated that they were afraid of Slender Man would kill their families if they did not commit the murder. After the perpetrators left the scene, the victim crawled out of the woods to a roadway. A passing cyclist alerted the authorities, and the victim survived the attack. Both attackers have been diagnosed with mental illnesses, but I'm going to add in there the folie à deux, the madness of two.
Yeah.
I think the one girl was the diagnosis. Her father was a schizophrenic or is, because they're still alive, and she was undiagnosed schizophrenic.
But also,
she actually got a commuted sentence. She got the commuted sentence, whereas the other one is going to serve time for 25 years.
Oh yeah, but I still will say folie à deux for that one.
But the one with schizophrenia was the one I can't think of.
We'll get into it in a second.
Yeah, she was the one really driving it.
Yeah,
and everything.
So both attackers have been diagnosed with mental illnesses, but have been charged as adults and have faced up to 65 years in prison. One of the girls reportedly said Slender Man watches her and can read minds and could teleport. Experts testified in court that she also said that she conversed with, you guys ready? Lord Voldemort and one of the Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
On August 1st,
Raphael.
Hey, as long as it wasn't Mikey, we're good. Because Mikey's like...
I mean, no, I think they'd be ordering pizza far more often if that were the case.
Right?
Oh, God, I want pizza so bad right now.
On August 1st, 2014, she was found incompetent to stand trial, and her prosecution was suspended until her condition improved. On November 12th, 2014, a doctor judged that her condition had improved enough for her to stand trial. On December 19th, 2014, the judge ruled that both girls were competent enough to stand trial. And in August of 2015, the presiding judge ruled that the girls would be tried as adults. They were tried separately. On August 21st, 2017, one of the girls, who was now 15, pled guilty to being a party to the attempted second-degree homicide, but claimed she was not responsible for her actions on grounds of insanity. Although prosecutors alleged that she knew what she was doing was wrong, the jury determined that she was mentally ill during the attack. She will spend at least 3 years in a mental hospital.
That's the one that is the girl who was schizophrenic?
Yes.
Is schizophrenic, sorry.
Yes.
On December 21st, Waukesha County Circuit Judge Michael Bowren sentenced Wire, then 16 years old, to be hospitalized for 25 years from the date of the crime, which would keep her institutionalized until the age of 23.
which I don't disagree with that. She is very much needing help, and she
Hi,
was
7.3 guy.
very. It was very lucky.
Ninja Turtles. Sorry.
It was very lucky that the girl survived this. They were even saying that if the it's one of those things where they were saying that as if the knife near the heart went just a half an inch lower, it would have actually pierced her I think artery, and she would have just bled out right there.
And Miss, it's extra screwy because a lot of these stab wounds were clearly not meant to kill; they were meant to bleed the victim, or they were just inexperienced, probably in stabbing people.
Oh,
but the
yeah,
weirdest,
12-year-olds.
yeah, the weirdest part about this is the girl that they stabbed used to be a friend of them in prior years in school, and the two just kind of faded off into their own little thing. And they approached this girl as a rekindling of our friendship. Let's have a sleepover, and that's how they brought her in to spend the night. And then the next day was when they took her to the woods to play hide and seek. And her and one of the other girls hid, but the other girl didn't actually hide. She just paid attention to her. The other one was hiding and alerted the other one. And that's how they were able to do it. And they knocked her down. Initially, she smashed her head into a log, and she was kind of like dazed. And then they just both started just stabbing her. It was a knife that they had gotten in like carved symbols into, so they thought that like the operator symbol was in it.
It wasn't like a not a steak knife, but it was a steak knife with like a wooden handle or something like that. Or...
Yeah. It was this little thin knife, and it's crazy that that's what they chose. But they carved the symbol into it. What is now known to be more widely as the operator symbol is what they had inscribed and carved into it. Yeah, and this poor girl, man, like to be able to drag yourself, and it was through quite a bit of woods. It wasn't. It wasn't just like the road was like 100 feet away. Like she had to crawl through the fucking woods, man, like pretty far to get to the road at all. And like I don't know even many adults that would have the will to drag themselves to safety like that. And it's a really fucked up story, man. And the worst part about it is, so they've done a lot of shows, they've done a lot of documentaries. But there was this one in particular that they did that was just made for... It was a Lifetime movie called Terror in the Woods. And they actually ended up using a lot more personal information than they were allowed to and than they were supposed to even use, which then pissed off the families of both the girls, that did the stabbing, and actually the parents of the girl that survived. There was a lot of personal information they included in this that was not signed off on.
So then, of course... Eric Knudsen, known as Surge.
Yeah.
He made a statement to the media on June 4th, 2014. He said, "I'm deeply saddened by the tragedy in Wisconsin, and my heart goes out to the families, to those affected by this terrible act." Afterwards, though, he did state that he was not going to be giving any more interviews on the matter because people were asking him some ridiculous questions.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They tend to blame him. And all he did was write horror fiction.
People who create art are never. I mean, honestly, here's the thing: you're gonna have some psychos or whatever, and people are gonna constantly like, in their own way. It's just like the suicides that happen, or in like '80s, and they just happen to have like a Metallica CD in there, I'm sorry, CD in the '80s. They happen to have like a Metallica cassette or something like that, or a record playing. Or Ozzy Osbourne, and they're like, "Oh my God, these bands need to be held accountable because this person killed themselves." It's like, no, it's not. That's not how that works here. They literally just created art, and someone random decided to take it the wrong way and was like, "Well, I guess I'm just going to end myself to this song," I'm not saying that.
Well, I mean, the whole thing with Megadeth, even A Tout le Monde. Where it's everyone's accusing him of having a suicide song, when in reality it was a tout le monde, a tous mes amis, je vous aime, je dois pas dire.
Even if you,
it was basically his last words to people he wished he could say goodbye to.
Even if you could read, I mean, even if you couldn't read like French, like you read the rest of the lyrics, and it's literally a guy going, "Look, man, I didn't have a chance to say goodbye to the people or say I'm sorry to the ones I wronged," but people literally still. After reading the lyrics, are like, "Oh yeah, it's very much a suicide song." It's like, no, it's not a suicide song. Read the lyrics.
So as you read this, know my friends, I'd love to stay with you all. smile when you think of me. My body's gone. That's all.
Yeah.
That's not somebody saying I'm committing suicide.
No.
And have I mentioned that I can remember pretty much any lyrics I've ever heard?
An interesting connection here too. We were talking about Ninja Turtles, obviously, because one of them, one of the girls spoke to it.
Said that one of the Ninja Turtles told her to do it.
It was Raphael, actually, specifically that she cited. So,
oh no!
What?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. I wasn't even joking about that. I'm dead serious about that.
My 5-year-old nephew's favorite one is Raw.
Mine too. But so back in the '80s, and I remember this very specifically because I was a little kid watching Ninja Turtles when they adapted the really bloody and violent comic book into a TV show for kids. Yeah. So there was a big thing in New York that actually got spread around a lot, and this happened several times in Ohio, like in my town I grew up in. Kids were going into the sewers to try and meet the Ninja Turtles, and there were cases in New York where some kids had actually drowned in the sewers down there, and then there was a couple cases in Dayton, Ohio, back in the '80s where some other kids did it and got stuck, and one kid asphyxiated in a sewer drain because he was kind of a large kid, and he couldn't get back out when his friends got out, and they couldn't get him out. And the way they tried to pull him through, like the old Winnie the Pooh, yank him out, they did it in such a way that he turned and his face was pressed against the inside of the sewer pipe and he asphyxiated. But, this goes back, the whole, believing in Slender Man goes back to kids believing in Ninja Turtles. It goes back to, violence in video games, Looney Tunes causing kids to go and hurt each other, wrestling now having to, for a long time now, don't try this at home, all this crazy stuff. And it has nothing to do so much with the material, so much as it has to do
causing people to do evil things.
Right. It often has to do with people that do have mental illnesses that do not have a good support structure at home, and no one is really teaching them the difference between reality and non-reality, or even bothering to take the time to do it, because especially since the 80s, TVs are babysitters, man. That started in the 70s, but really in the 80s, that was
Lord of None. Hi. Sorry.
Yep. But the Latchkey Kids thing, man, that was even bigger in the 80s, and that was your babysitter. You just went home, you turned on whatever was on. Usually by about 3 o'clock, you're looking at the rerun of He-Man and She-Ra, and then Ninja Turtles, and then from there. But cartoons were our babysitters, man, and it changed a lot of things. And internet culture only made that worse, because now it's not sit in front of the TV where I at least know what programs you're watching. It's here's this tablet, get out of my face. And half these kids are watching Five Nights at Freddy's videos at 4 years old, weird shit, and they wonder, oh, what's wrong with my kid? And it's dude, because you're giving them a tablet, you're giving them access to the world, and you're not even bothering.
It doesn't matter what parental locks you put on there; they will get past it.
Exactly, and most parents are too stupid to realize their kids are smart, and they've already figured out the password for the last 2 years. You just didn't recognize it yet.
Yeah.
So the other day, I guess our niece, which my niece would be older than me, was over here. His niece was over here with her young son, and somebody had taken a ghost song and put it over a kid's video, and the lyrics were, "You go down just like Holy Mary on a cross." Yeah. And I was like, hey, stop him. She's like, oh, he doesn't know the lyrics. And I'm like, let me tell you the lyrics.
Yeah.
You go down just like Holy Mary, Mary on a cross, not just another Bloody Mary.
Oh, yeah.
Mariana.
And we have no problem
Mariana
with ghosts,
Cross.
just let people know.
No, I love ghosts.
But for a little kid,
that's one of my favorite bands right now.
Who's in school right now? That's okay. We need to monitor that.
You should probably not be listening to.
But the thing is, parental blocks are going to stop that, because a lot of the videos are still marked as kid friendly.
Yeah.
A lot of those are the count video that we were watching beforehand, where it bleeps out the word count and makes it think he's saying other shit like that. If you go back, but that video is also okay and accessible to children too. And there's so many of these that are it's in creepypastas. Most creepypastas are not marked adult or mature, and same thing with the Five Nights at Freddy videos. They're also not marked as mature.
I think we got into the conversation one night about TikTok.
One of the things I was going to say, though, is the part that really got me, that made me really recognize what song it was, because I wasn't paying attention to what he was doing. But there's a part in the song that goes, "If you choose to run away with me, I will tickle you internally." And I see nothing wrong with that. And it's a great song, by the way. I freaking love that song. But watching a 5-year-old listen to "If you choose to run away with me, I will tickle you internally."
You know the funny thing about that is, okay, like you have like you juxtapose two different bands here. Like you have Ghost, right, and then you have Typo Negative. Typo Negative, Peter Steele was very blunt. It didn't matter. He's all, basically saying lines like, "I'll do anything to make you come." You know, and like the funny thing is if you play that for a 5-year-old, he's gonna be like, "I don't know what that means."
For trouble.
You know,
and I found her.
But he's gonna be like, "I don't know in any way, shape, or form what that means." But then, like, you get something catchy like "I'll tickle you on the inside." It's like,
tickle
he's
you
gonna
internally.
be stuck there, like not understanding what that means, but singing the lyrics and getting it out there and all.
And what's your option? How do you explain that to a kid? Like, do you just bring out a Tickle Me Elmo doll and be like, "Oh, don't worry, it's about Elmo"? Like, I mean, how do you explain that?
It's the head. You know,
Tide Pods are yummy. Hi, Tide Pods are yummy.
They're not yummy.
Delicious.
Hi, Will. Hello. That was just somebody who popped up on here. Tide Pods are yummy.
So, like, if you think about the Tide Pod thing and you think about 9 Inch Nails, it's like I want to clean you from the inside. Like that's
freaking.
I was talking to a friend of mine, Ivar, and I was talking. I didn't know I was on speaker. Okay. And I said something about serial killers. Well, there was a 4-year-old in the room, and that immediately goes, "What's a serial killer?" And I was all, "Hey, you know Captain Crunch cereal? It's when you eat a lot of that." You know,
it just reminds me of Grain Jelly, the album Serial Killers that they did that had 3 little pigs on it.
Little pig, let me in.
I torture people. I actually got to do that at a Spooky Empire show once, and I had like Tony Todd and Angus Scrimm like shouting back, like singing the lyrics back from the crowd. It was great. But the song I torture with people from that album actually is "The Misadventures of Shit Man" because it's such a weird fucking song.
All right.
But murders, stabbing children.
Stabbing. So on September 25th, 2017, it was reported that Morgan Geyser, then 15, had agreed to plead guilty to attempted murder in the first degree in an arrangement that would allow her to avoid jail time, which is scary. On February 1st, 2018, the Associated Press reported that Geyser had been sentenced to 40 years in Wisconsin mental hospital, the maximum sentence allowed, which is actually a good thing. You know, so moral panic and other incidents, though.
Real fast before you get into that, like I was a lot of
Hi, Robert Rickroll.
a lot of like European. I was listening to an English podcast on Spotify and stuff like that, and they were talking about like how messed up this was, that they tried these girls as adults, and the reality of it was they did get tried as adults, but they weren't shipped off to like adult prison. They were sent to hospitals and stuff like that. Which as they should be. They need.
They were obviously mentally unstable, mentally ill.
Right.
So let's get into the stabbing in Waukesha.
Wasaga. Sorry.
It's not Wasaga.
Wakasashi. Mike Wachowski.
Blueberry Bulldogs. Spawned a nationwide moral panic over Slender Man across the United States. Parents across the nation became worried about the potential dangers that stories about Slender Man might pose to their children's safety. Russell Jack, the police chief of Waukesha, warned that Slender Man stabbing should be a wake-up call for all parents, and that the internet was full of dark and wicked things, a warning which numerous media outlets completely publicized and took a crazy direction.
I don't disagree with what he said, but
I do disagree
with how
but the media went nuts on it.
Well, the media is going to glom onto something, and they're like, because blood and murder sells commercial space. So
after
sex and blood.
Story, sex and violence. Damn it.
I feel like I got something on my face over here. I can't tell though.
I'm not crazy. I'm in control. Every time you do that, that's all I can think of. I'm not crazy. I'm in control.
And the makeup actually does come from my nose. It does look like I just punched myself until it bled.
I just love how he walks out and he's like, "You guys can take the night off."
Oh yeah, and when I do my whole monologue, it's in this slow Louisiana Southern drawl, and I'm real chill about it. And then if people interrupt me, I get in their face and I just fucking go off on them. It's hilarious.
Nice. I'm so excited. We're going to some haunts next weekend, so I'm just like so stoked right now.
Hell yeah.
So after hearing the story, an unidentified woman from Cincinnati, Ohio, told WLWT-TV reporter, or told a WLWT-TV reporter, yeah, it was basically like Satanic Panic.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. But it wasn't even just about Slenderman. It was creepypasta in general. The creepypasta was this new, basically Satanic Panic kick.
Oh yeah. And so this unidentified woman in Cincinnati told the reporter in June of 2014 that her 13-year-old daughter had attacked her with a knife and had written macabre fiction, some involving Slender Man, who the mother said motivated the attack. On September 4th of the same year, a 14-year-old girl in Port Richey, Florida, allegedly set her family's house on fire while her mother and 9-year-old brother were inside.
This is the weird stuff that's related to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say that I'm only an hour away from Cincinnati and Dayton, and that case was fucking enormous here. It exploded everywhere in Ohio, man. Like it was insane.
So police reported that the teenager had been reading online stories about Slender Man, as well as the manga Soul Eater. So, which is actually pretty damn good. Eddie Daniels of the Pasco County Sheriff's Office said that the girl had visited the website that contains a lot of Slender Man information and stories. It would be safe to say there's a connection to that. During an early... Oh, go ahead.
I was saying, like, this is the weird stuff that's actually connected to it that we should actually probably said before we started reading this part of it. There was a lot of other killings or violence related to this. There's a couple. I want to say there was a couple mass suicides.
I was about to get into that.
Yeah, that were like, it's odd that supposedly there's a chance that they actually might have created the actual Slender Man Tulpa, and he's actually possibly out there. That Tulpa is actually out there influencing things.
Susan asked, so why, I wonder, is Slender Man affecting mentally ill females?
So it's actually it's males too on an equal level. But here's the thing: if you have the chance to put a young boy and a young girl on a TV screen, a young girl is going to get the viewers more in the news story every single time. So it's an equal amount across the board. It's just easier for ratings if they focus on primarily the female cases.
So during an early 2015 epidemic of suicide attempts by young people ranging in ages from 12 to 24 on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, Slender Man was cited as an influence. The Oglala Sioux tribe president noted that many Native Americans traditionally believe in a suicide spirit, similar to the Slender Man. The Sioux described the big man as a messenger or sign or warning that society is developing in a dangerous direction.
Yeah.
A documentary film on the incident called Beware the Slender Man, directed by Irene Taylor Brodsky, was released by HBO Films in March of 2016 and was broadcasted on HBO on January 23rd, 2017.
I've seen a little bit of this documentary. It's just from what I didn't have the attention span at the time to keep watching it, but it is. I heard it is pretty long, but it's not bad from what I see.
It caused a lot of strife in the YouTube community because a lot of things like Marble Hornets, Everyman Hybrid, a lot of people talked about it. I even got the chance to sit in with some conversations with some of them about it. And a lot of the work they and even myself did on YouTube was very horribly misrepresented in a very negative way to be something that it wasn't. And it caused a huge problem in the YouTube community. Like there was a lot of anger from a lot of people involving that documentary because there was some information that just straight wasn't even true. That wasn't even truth.
Yeah,
that was just sort of added in. But it was predominantly a good documentary. Yeah. There was just a lot of false leads and false information in it as well, unfortunately.
One of the things that I did find kind of interesting when we were talking earlier about what is her name? Chess and Peck. All these people having opinions on what Slender Man means, and none of them literally asking the person who created Slender Man.
Right.
That's another thing too.
You know?
It actually did originally when this stuff came out. It actually took a minute to put things together and find him. I think wasn't it? Isn't that right, Raz? It wasn't like he came out. I mean, obviously when the murders and everything or the stabbing happened, not the murders, but prior to that, trying to find the original creator of this, it wasn't exactly the easiest thing because he was keeping quiet about it mostly and just trying
Eric
to do like
Knudsen did it under a pseudonym, as most authors do.
Yeah. Well, especially when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
trying to create a mythos and you're trying to follow in the footsteps of H.P. Lovecraft, you especially in the old days, like we were saying earlier, they wanted us to keep going and actually build upon it. So when you come out and you immediately stamp your claim on this and saying this is mine, it's going to keep people from doing that because you're basically saying, hey, in a way, I'm going to start like coming after you guys if you don't do things right.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, the Waukesha stabbing and the negative media attention it generated irreversibly altered the Slender Man legend and the online community surrounding it. What had previously just been a creepy horror meme to most people suddenly acquired a new level of reality that most fans of Slender Man actually found horrifying. Meanwhile, by around the same time, the Slender Man character had lost much of its original popularity. Most of the original blogs that had once been devoted to Slender Man either shut down completely or just became less popular.
Yeah.
Slender Man's presence in mainstream popular culture also contributed to a decline in how frightening he seemed to be to many people. So this is where a tulpa starts losing its power. Is people are losing interest, losing fear. I mean, going back to the whole Freddy Krueger as a tulpa
Don't
thing.
No, a lot of people are actually a lot of things with tulpas. It's not exactly they start losing their powers. It's that the tulpas start becoming, especially if like we were saying, if this stuff is 100% real, this is where they become something more and something different, and they start doing messed up things to keep people interested, keep people talking about them. Especially if they've built up enough. I don't know how to say this.
Then there's a whole other aspect where they started doing benevolent portrayals of him.
Yeah. There were a number of those where he was more of a guardian, it was like a backwards Pied Piper situation when it first came out, but then it became like to where he was actually the guardian of children that like maybe weren't treated properly by their parents, and he was taking them away to safety. It was weird, man. It was really weird.
So basically, it was late 2010s. There was an increase in him being portrayed as the benevolent Slender Man, with many depictions of him from this time frame being like him being portrayed as an anti-hero who protects victimized children from bullies, but it was always still through violent means. And in some portrayals of Slender Man from the late 2010s, he has a daughter named Skinny Sally, who is portrayed as a young girl covered in cuts and bruises. Slender Man sometimes is portrayed carrying Skinny Sally on his shoulders, like protectively. Lynn McNeil, assistant professor of folklore in Utah State University, observes that the increase in benevolent portrayals of Slender Man seems to have begun shortly after the stabbing in Waukesha, and states that this trend towards benevolent Slender Man may be a reaction by fans of the character to the violence of the stabbing. And despite the decline in popularity in Slender Man, commercial adaptations of the character continued. In 2015, the film adaptation of Marble Hornets, titled Always Watching a Marble Hornets Story, was released on VOD.
Video on demand.
I know.
Sorry.
Where the character was portrayed by Doug Jones. In 2006, Sony Pictures subsidiary Screen Gems partnered with Mythology Entertainment to bring Slender Man film into theaters with the title character portrayed by Javier Botet.
Yep.
The film generated considerable controversy soon after it was announced, with many accusing the filmmakers of trying to capitalize off of the Waukesha stabbing. Bill Wire, the father of Anissa Wire, stated, "It's absurd that they want to make a movie like this. All we're doing is extending the pain of all three of these families." The progressive advocacy group Care2 created an online petition which received over 19,000 signatures demanding that the film not be released, labeling the film as crass commercialism at its worst and a naked cash grab built on the exploitation of a deeply traumatic event that to the people who lived it. Sony representatives insisted that the film was based on the fictional character that had become popular online, not the stabbings.
And I think it was. I don't remember seeing it, but I think
it had nothing to do with the stabbings.
But this is aside from the families and the family that the families that this happened to, it's terrible. It is. But at the same time, these groups, these virtue signaling groups, get in here and they're the same people who are like, again, oh, we need to just end all heavy metal music and punk rock music. We didn't just get it out of here because look what it obviously did to these teens when they caused them to get into drugs and everything else. It's like, no, it didn't. Your terrible parenting caused your kids to do this,
things,
not the other way around here.
So upon its release in August of 2018, the film Slender Man, despite being declared a box office bomb and receiving both little marketing and overwhelmingly negative reviews from critics, went on to gross several times its $10 million budget worldwide.
Became a cult classic.
Yep. So David Ehrlich of IndieWire gave the film a D, writing a tasteless and incredibly undercooked serving of the internet's stalest creepypasta. Slender Man aspires to be, for the YouTube era, what The Ring was to the last gasps of the VHS generation. But there's one fundamental difference that sets the two movies apart. The Ring is good, Slender Man is terrible. Writing for The Verge, Carly Bellocci called the Slender Man movie a nail in the coffin of a dying fandom.
There's a bigger problem with that movie. So that was a time when the studio that made that movie was kind of shitting the bed for a very sad reason. So this was a time, in like the 2018 era, where there was this push away from rated R movies, right? So they had the movie with Jason Statham, The Meg, and a couple others, where they basically decided after the film was done that they wanted to go for the PG-13 rating. So they went back in and they cut giant sections and refilmed some things. This made Jason Statham with The Meg almost completely never work with the studio again. There was a very verbal explosion. Now, if you watch Slender Man, you'll notice that there's two different Slender Mans in the movie. They look a little different. Their head shapes are a little different. That's because the original guy they had refused to come back, according to the behind-the-scenes information. And he was very upset with the movie being changed beyond what it was supposed to have been. So what they had to do, not being able to get access to him, they had a guy come in and do those filler scenes that they needed to reshoot to get the PG-13 rating. So it's one of the biggest reasons why that movie was the flop that it was, really.
So, going into the folkloric qualities.
I was going to say.
What?
I was going to say we're almost at 2 hours.
Yeah, I just thought we'd talk a little bit about the folklore if you guys wanted to. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, we'll just read that and we're done.
So several scholars have argued that despite being a fictional work with an identifiable origin point, the Slender Man represents a form of digital folklore. Shira Chess argues that the Slender Man exemplifies the similarities between traditional folklore and the open source ethos of the internet.
It's all word of mouth.
And that, unlike those of traditional monsters such as vampires and werewolves, the fact that the Slender Man's mythos can be tracked and signposted offers a powerful insight into how myth and folklore form. Chess identifies three aspects of the Slender Man mythos that tie it into folklore. Collectivity, meaning that it is created by a collective rather than a single individual. Variability, meaning that the story changes depending on the teller. And performance, meaning that the storyteller's narrative changes to reflect the audience's response. Andrew Peck also considers the Slender Man to be an authentic form of folklore and notes its similarity to emergent forms of offline legend performance. Peck suggests that digital folklore performance extends the dynamics of face-to-face performance in several notable ways, such as by occurring asynchronously, according to imitation and personalization while also allowing perfect replication, combining elements of oral, written, and visual communication, and generating shared expectations for performance that enact group entity despite the lack of a physical present group. He concludes that Slender Man represents a digital legend cycle that combines the generic conventions and emergent qualities of oral and visual performance with the collaborative potential of networked communication.
For me, we'll finish reading this real fast and I'll get in. I'll see what I have to say.
Keep going and just go pee, Hexus.
Right.
Jeff Tolbert also accepts the Slender Man as folkloric and suggests it represents a process he calls reverse ostension. Ostension in folklorics is the process of acting out a folk narrative. So, according to Tolbert, the Slender Man does the opposite by creating a set of folklore-like narratives where none existed before. It's an iconic figure produced through a collective effort and deliberately modeled after an existing and familiar folklore genre. According to Tolbert, this represents two processes in one. It involves the creation of new objects and new disconnected examples of experience, and it involves the combination of these elements into a body of traditional narratives modeled on existing folklore, but not wholly indebted to any specific tradition. Professor Thomas Petit of University of Southern Denmark has described the Slender Man as being an exemplar of the modern age's closing of the Gutenberg parentheses. The time period from the invention of the printing press to the spread of the web, in which stories and information were codified in discrete media, to a return to the older, more primal forms of storytelling, exemplified by oral tradition and campfire tales, in which the same story can be retold, reinterpreted, and recasted by different tellers, allowing the lore to expand and evolve in time.
So he just said what I was about to say. But I want to add in there what the whole internet folklore does too. It takes power away from big companies like Disney who buy up folklore left and right and then just change the shit out of it.
And taking just away like that, we got canceled.
They change it. They take it away from its graphic roots. What folklore is it keeping you from going into the woods and being murdered by animals and stuff like that. The internet folklore actually takes it back to being more word of mouth and makes it more organic and keeps people interested in it and actually keeps things going.
And I know for a big part of tomorrow's the LA podcast show, we're actually going to be speaking about internet folklore very specifically as well.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Awesome. Why don't you tell us more about that, Raz?
Okay, we have 5 minutes and we're going to go end the show. I thought you had to pee. But Susan says, like the back rooms and Fey Realm, both are similar. Both accidentally happen.
Yeah. The Backrooms is a great. I remember when Backrooms very first started on Reddit, because that's where it mostly comes from. A little bit of 4chan, but mostly Reddit. And like the subreddit for that is amazing because people are always posting art like, hey, look, I accidentally stumbled into the back room in this building. And the Backrooms mythology would take like literally a whole episode to explain, so I won't get super into it. But check it out. It's
2 hours in right now.
Yeah, it's really intense. There's a lot to it.
Can you bring up Susan's last comment, please?
Agreed.
I'm just saying. Thank you.
Agreed with me. I also want to let you guys know that there are only 99 Luftballons left.
Only 99.
There's only
Get them while they last, people. Get them while they last.
All right. Well, Raz, thank you for joining us for this. This has been
this was good.
Really fun. Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow night we have
Raz and Delphine.
And then on
and hopefully you guys
Friday we will be interviewing Tyler Fleming on Roots Bleed Red. So that'll be a ton of fun.
It's gonna be great.
Oh yeah.
So
next week, I think we are going to be in Orange County next weekend. So there isn't the next Friday.
So
there
next
isn't.
Friday is There's no Roots Bleed Red next Friday, because we are going to be going to a couple haunts. And
Just seeing some friends and stuff like that.
Stuff like that. So
We're still doing You Can't Sit With Us on next Thursday?
Yes. Oh, I forgot about that. No, yes, we are. Oh, wait.
No, we're not.
Oh.
We're going to be at Not Scary Farm.
I was going to say, I thought you guys were going to be, but we hadn't talked about it yet. Yeah.
Okay,
we might have to record it.
Can we do, Susan? Can we do it on Wednesday?
No.
Why can't we do that on Wednesday? We go on late for
Because
that
I'm
one.
interviewing. Okay.
Yeah, you do, but we go on. We always go on like in the middle of the night for that to record.
Yeah.
So if we can record on Wednesday, that'll be great. So.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight. Thank you guys on Clapper for staying. I really appreciate it. You're not going to be able to see these outros unless I
show our PC off.
Show the PC off.
I don't think you should be moving that around too much.
Woo! Okay. I'm just trying to get this moved. Bye, guys.
Later.
All right, and
Suck
bye,
it.
guys. Suck it. I gotta find the
outro.
All right.
See you
Bye.
later.
I don't know, set the world on fire. I